Welcome to Fandom Schmandom, the fandom podcast that covers everything you love and more. I'm Sierra Obermark.
And I'm Sam Williams. In this episode, we will be giving you guys a little sneak peek behind the curtain. We will be discussing all of our categories, how we are organizing this podcast for you guys, and what was the reason behind why we named the categories what they are, because they're kind of nonsensical unless you have a little bit of information behind them. Or if you get every reference, then great.
Yep.
But not everybody will get every reference. There's one in particular that's really just for Sierra and I. So, moving forward.
That's okay.
First thing, just want to let everybody know that when we say, without further ado, as Roger Smith says, dive on in, that is an American Dad reference to Roger Smith, the alien character, who in one season is Australian and runs a business, and every time he meets somebody, he says the slogan of the business, dive on in. So that's why we do that. Which is not so much a category, it's just me wanting to brag that I know cool things. That's, American Dad is not that. It's fine. Alright, whatever. Alright, so this first category, get up to 88, because it's time to travel back to our story recap. Sierra, what is this a reference to?
Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Woo. Good old little 1980s nostalgia science fiction. Going back to the 50s, Marty McFly almost doing his mom. It's terrible. It's a really weird, wacky story when you say it out of context. Yeah, this is the 1980s. This is some sci-fi nostalgia going back to Marty McFly and his trouble with his parents and almost breaking them up and almost disappearing with Doc and everything. We're doing this because we are traveling back to show you guys all the different things that happen in the episodes that we've watched for our episode of the podcast. So that's pretty self-explanatory. We will sometimes have what we call an expert corner, which for this season is our executive producer, Aurelia, coming in and giving us information on the books, and then our friend of the pod, Elizabeth Wade Stickle, who is a history teacher and will be giving us some real life information. So when we say, before we get to that nitty gritty schmitty, we welcome blank to provide us with that vital information, that is our expert corner. And those are like people who have gone and done some real work to help us out on the pod, to give you guys even better further context and analysis of these characters and of this show. Sierra, go and read. What is this next category?
The next category, find your donut holes. It's time for our Knives Out category, where we sleuth out which 3 storylines are the most vital to pay attention to.
Yeah, and listeners, you'll have to sleuth out how many times do we say sleuth versus sooth.
Sooth, sus, skooth.
Skeeth?
Yep.
We may have said a bunch of different versions of this by the time you have you've listened in. So, Knives Out, of course, is the Daniel Craig mystery detective movies that have been really fun. Two have come out. The third is out, possibly by the time you listen to this. It's about to be out as we're recording. And this is about us identifying, over the course of all the episodes that we are talking about, what are the actual 3 storylines that are important to pay attention to, and why. So we'll be detailing all of that. Following that category is, keep your finger on the pause button and rewind that tape. It's the Prestige category. What did we notice on this watch through? The Prestige is a Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman movie that Sierra absolutely idolizes.
I love it so much. It was really impactful for me, and I absolutely adore this movie. It's fantastic.
And it's also entirely different on a second rewatch. Because
exactly.
It's one of those big, huge twist movies.
It is very, very interesting to go back and rewatch this movie. So this is a category to really draw attention to the things that you may have missed on the first time that you watched it. Yeah. And then going back with more information, fresh eyes, what potentially could you pick out that you didn't see before?
Yeah. So one of the big things that we'll talk about is there is a part in one of the seasons before we ever know anything about Vecna where Vecna's clock chimes. And you're just like, now having heard that sound and know what that means, it's kind of mind-blowing when it happens in the television show. So that's what that category is for.
Next one. You don't always have to face down a horde of angry soldiers by yourself. Buckle up, Schmisseners. It's our Sansa is smarter than Jon category.
What is this, Sierra?
What is the most important character moment? It's from Game of Thrones.
Yes.
In case you didn't get it, from Sansa and Jon. There's people who haven't seen Game of Thrones.
That's true.
It's possible. It is possible you didn't recognize those names, but that's what it's from.
So the reason why we named it as such is because there's this whole arc later on in Game of Thrones, which this is a spoiler for Game of Thrones, so if you were watching it, I guess tune us out for like 30 seconds. So Jon is up in the north, finally kind of free of his Night Watch stuff, and he's with Sansa, trying to defend Winterfell, and there's a huge hold of angry soldiers coming his way, and he's like, "Oh, tough it out. I got this. Hold my beer, Sansa." And Sansa just, like, sidesteps his beer and lets it fall, and she instead goes and is political and gets a whole army to come and rescue him. So, but that's a hugely important character moment for Sansa. It's this moment of sort of full realization of her character, from dainty little pretty thing that's only there to be married off to I have survived through some of the worst horrors that this world has to offer, and I'm stronger and better and smarter than all of you around me. So that's why when we're talking about like the most important character moment in these episodes, why we've named it sort of after Sansa. The next is, I know you just lost a hand, but listen up. It's the I am your father category for most iconic character moment. Iconic character moment, meaning this moment is huge for this character, whether the fandom loves it or whether the show really sells it or anything of that nature. So you think about Darth Vader extending and being like, I am your father. It's a huge, giant character moment, both for Luke and for Vader, right? It's incredibly revealing. But a fandom, we separated it out from important character moment because sometimes there's just a really, really fun, awesome, not that important moment that fandoms just absolutely adore. That has nothing to do with like an importance to the storyline.
Exactly. Yeah, something that is potentially more quoted, or when you think about this series or you think about this season, this is what you think of. And it doesn't necessarily have to have anything to do with the main plot or to be the most impactful, but it's iconic.
Yeah, iconic.
Which leads us to the next one. Everybody sit down. It's time for our I Am Iron Man, which is most iconic and most important scene category. This, if you didn't get it, is from Iron Man.
Yeah, a scene that is both the most important and the most iconic.
And the most iconic.
Because not only is this scene, like, extremely quoted and referenced by its own material for the ultimate moment of that series of MCU movies, it's also extremely important for both real life versions. Robert Downey Jr. ad-libs that line, they keep it, and it becomes this huge, amazing ending that everybody loves and skyrockets this movie, creating the MCU single-handedly. And it is also important in the movie because it drives home Tony's whole message that it's actually me, not some random vigilante that's doing this. I have changed my heart.
Mm-hmm. Huge, huge, huge.
So in this, we'll be grabbing what we think is both the most iconic and the most important scenes, which usually for moments you can get away with splitting them, but for scenes they almost always coincide. So we may have honorable mentions or stuff like that, but there's almost always one exactly that you can pick. Crack open in the encyclopedia, Sierra. As Elijah Wood once said, no, how could we have known? This is where we discuss the most important information disseminated to the fandom over these blank amount of episodes, right? So this is a pretty deep pull. It's a very famous tweet from Elijah Wood, if you are deep in fandom, as Sierra and I are. But there's this awesome tweet where Rise of Skywalker had just, like, was about to release on Disney Plus or something, and Star Wars Holocron released as a tweet this information that it was like, did you know that the planet of Exegol was formed with Sith worshippers who were creating the Force Starter fleet the whole time? And it's just like, if you've seen Rise of Skywalker, spoilers for this, but this fleet and Palpatine just kind of come out of nowhere with no world building, no lore building. Like, they just they just kind of drop Palpatine and the fact that now all Star Destroyers are also Death Stars. They just can't keep getting away from planet-killing technology. And it's just really frustrating. But then the Star Wars Holocron goes and drops this information, which is like, no, of course nobody knows. And Elijah Wood, Frodo Baggins of all people, goes, no. He re-quotes the tweet, and then above it says, no. How could we have known? So I will use this in whatever context possible, and I thought it had to be a category where we are discussing sort of what is the most important information to the fandom in this series of episodes. Later on, we have big takeaways, and this is kind of a precursor into big takeaways. So not everything is a big takeaway, but there might be little pieces of information, like how physics works, or how somebody's powers may have adjusted or are different from one another. So that's where that information belongs.
Keep your horses safe. It's the I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse category for best lines.
Super self-explanatory.
The Godfather.
Yeah.
Yes, it's pretty self-explanatory. The line, I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse, is the best line in the movie.
in all three movies.
In all three movies.
It's definitely the most quoted.
If you would like to argue, please drop your Godfather lore in the comments.
In the comments, yeah.
And we can discuss if you think that there's a better one. I will be hard pressed to agree with you, but please challenge me on that one.
Yeah, certainly. Dust off that card deck and get ready to shuffle. It's our Joker category for who is the MVP of this episode, story arc, movie, whatever it is that we're doing. This is a Dark Knight reference, the second of the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, where Heath Ledger, R.I.P., plays the Joker. And the Joker is the MVP. He's the most valuable player in that movie by far. The movie's great, and the first Batman Begins movie, incredible. It's a great movie.
Amazing.
Liam Neeson's in it as a villain. He's awesome, but nothing quite drives Dark Knight into the stratosphere of like one of the best movies ever made than Heath Ledger's Joker. Both the writing for it and his acting. So when we're picking MVPs, we've named it after the Joker because of how clear,
impactful,
how clear of an impact that character has on that movie.
Exactly. This last category is really just for Sam and I. Clean your evil lair and get ready for our I was the turkey all along category. What is the biggest takeaway viewers should leave with in preparation for whatever we are preparing you for?
Yeah.
So, this is an Invader Zim pull.
Yes, it is!
This is something that Sam and I quoted to each other, sent back and forth videos of, would hide in random places and pop out and yell.
This was our, like, never gonna give you
constantly.
Up to each other. Our Rick rolls or whatever it is.
Yes, Rick rolls. This was our Rick roll for years.
So it's a moment where Invader Zim, who's this little alien that's trying to infiltrate Earth, owns this house in a neighborhood, and in the basement is his evil lair. And he goes down, and there's this, like, Thanksgiving turkey just down there. And Invader Zim has this little side companion named Gur, which stands for Garbage and Robot. It's like a malfunctioned robot that the people who gave him this mission want him to fail, and Gur doesn't work that well, but Gur's hilarious. And so Zim just sort of looks over at this turkey, ignores it, and then the turkey explodes, and it goes everywhere. And Gur goes like, ta-da! And Zim just ignores him. And he goes, oh, there you are, Gur. And then he keeps talking and Gur goes, it was me! And Zim's like, uh-huh. And he goes, me! I was the turkey all along! And Zim just completely ignores it. But it's just like, it's the big realization, right? It's the big realization is what we're going for. What's the biggest takeaway? Because the biggest takeaway in that moment is that Gur was inside the turkey all along. I don't know that we're very good at this, Sierra. People maybe should fire us. I love it.
Hey, we've said if you enjoy us just a fraction of the amount
that we enjoy ourselves,
that we crack ourselves up, we're all gonna have a good time.
Awesome. Today's public service announcement comes from turkeys. Please stop hiding inside of us.
Thank you, dear listener schmisseners, for listening to this short intro explanatory episode of Fandom Schmandom. If you would like to discuss the shenanigans that we just got up to, or any future episode / current episode that we are doing, please hit us up on our social media channels. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at Fandom Schmandom Pod, and on X at Fandom_Schmandom.
Please don't forget to rate and review us if you like the episode. It really helps the algorithm place us in front of other like-minded schmissioners out there. And with that, we're out, y'all.
Don't forget to tip your categories.
And fare thee well.
Fandom Schmandom was created by Sam Williams and Sierra Obermark. The show is produced by Aurelia Lieb. The editor is Brittany Fisher. The music is by Jeremiah Alves.
We're giving you guys a little sneak peek behind the curtain here, where we